Welcome to We Love the Hype, a podcast about advertising and PR from me, college lecturer Molly Wilkins. This podcast serves as a supplement for my classes, but is also open to the public with interviews and conversations that I hope will have engaging, enlightening, and entertaining stories about our industry. Today's conversation is with Shannon Joyner, Vice President of Marketing for the Atlanta Falcons. And there's one very interesting thing that he touched on as key to the Falcons fan experience. One that might seem small, but is actually, in fact, huge. It's honestly something that might frustrate some of us daily. Keep listening to hear what it is. Well, I'm sure you're really, really busy, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. And my students were just thrilled about the idea of getting to hear from you. So,
Awesome.
So I will go ahead and jump right on in.
I was going to ask, so are you recording?
So what I'm doing is I am recording. I've hit recording with my phone so that I can record audio there. I may hit record on Teams
Video.
just to have a backup, if nothing else. Let's see. Oh.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I'll go ahead and do that now. And okay, yes, it says recording has started. Let everyone know they're being recorded. So there we go. So I'll start out with some basic questions. And even students were pretty excited. You may have seen, if you look at LinkedIn, that some of them were looking you up, and they're like, "Oh my God,
cool.
they're like, oh my God, he went to Harvard! Wow!" And so I guess start off telling us about who you are and where you went to school, what was your major, that type of thing.
Yeah. So my name is Shannon Joyner, Vice President of Marketing for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm originally from Atlanta, so born and raised here. Went to Morehouse College for undergrad and was a marketing major at Morehouse. And really there is where kind of the convergence of marketing and sports happened and really kind of crystallized for me that this could be a fun career to pursue. I was fortunate enough to have some pretty good internships in that space. While at Morehouse, the summer after my sophomore year, I interned in the marketing department for Sports Illustrated in New York. And the summer after my junior year, I interned with Nike doing marketing at their New York office. So those two opportunities really kind of set me on my path and, really, I think, confirmed that this was a space that I wanted to pursue and learn more about. So first big break after I graduated, I moved to New York to work for the NBA and their Global Marketing Partnerships Group, which is their marketing sponsorship group. So I worked with a lot of, big-time companies with their NBA partnerships, the headliners, Nike, American Express, and 2K Sports. So that was really interesting because I was getting, obviously, a brand new experience in the space, but also learning how the NBA markets its own brand, but then how other companies are trying to, use the NBA as part of their portfolio to market their own brands. And that was just a strong learning experience for me because, in a way, when I'm dealing with the partners themselves, I'm the NBA advocate. But when I'm dealing with the NBA internally, I'm the partners advocate.
Right.
So, learning how to navigate both of those spaces was really interesting. And so then kind of during my time there, which was an amazing experience, but one of the things I kind of took from it is kind of a funny thing of one, people in sports love their jobs, which is true. And just people are so passionate and all these things, and which kind of leads to the second thing is that people in sports don't really leave their jobs the same way that other industries. There's movement within the sports industry, but a lot of people love it, so they kind of stay in it. So, sports doesn't have the same, kind of structured, kind of growth.
Right.
When you think about consulting or banking, it's kind of, all right, you're junior analyst 2 years, and you become an analyst for 2 years, and senior analyst 2 years. It's not the same space, for sports. It's more of a, uneven, opportunistic type of space. And so what I'm kind of getting at is I wanted to go back to business school to get my MBA, and a few motivations for that. One was kind of to this, something to continue to add credibility, to my resume as I continue to grow. But the second piece was, as I wanted to rise in my space, from a marketing side, I knew that the general management piece was going to continue to grow more and more important. And so being able to, know enough of the language with the different areas of business would be important, because I knew, who knew, again, in this kind of unpredictable sports space, where you're going to, opportunities going to present themselves and where you're going to land. And so I feel like an MBA plus the experience I already had together would put me on a good path. So did that, and that's where I went to Harvard Business School to get my MBA. It was an amazing 2-year experience there. A lot of really smart people, but really cool people, and really being exposed to, Harvard has a case study method. So you're not just kind of studying straight textbook. It is more, each class is a case. So you're studying a real life business situation and then using the skills you're learning in school to apply in that situation. And what would you do if were the protagonist and things like that. So that was really pretty incredible learning experience. For me, I did a grad internship with Nike at their headquarters in Portland during the summer between those 2 years. That was a great experience, and that I was able to receive a full-time offer tied to that.
Nice.
So I went back to Boston for a year, graduated, and then moved to Portland for a year, and was in a marketing leadership rotation program that I had 3 different marketing jobs within 2 years in all different disciplines within their broader marketing space, including for a year I had the opportunity to live in Amsterdam. And that was Nike has offices all over the world, but their European headquarters are based in Amsterdam. So I got to do that. And that was really cool because what I got to work on was soccer marketing for Europe.
Oh.
And when you think about, obviously that sport and how culturally intertwined it is with that area, was just such a great learning experience for me. So I did that for a year, moved back to Portland, kept going at Nike, and then got the opportunity to come back home to join the Falcons and their marketing department. At that point, the role was marketing director, and that was summer 2018. And then I've just, thoroughly enjoyed my time in the 5.5 years I've been here since then. I'm sure we'll go into the details of that, but here I am.
Wow, that's incredible. I already know that some of my students are just, because I know them so well, I can already tell their heads are going to be exploding hearing all of that. That sounds absolutely incredible. So, if, let's say you're not at Harvard Business School, if you want to set yourself up on that type of path, let's say for one of my students here at Georgia College, how can they best position themselves for something like that?
Yeah, I would say really 3 things. I said the first one is, and they all kind of are under the lens of control what you can control, right? So, how well you do in school in your classes, and that's on you, right? So, being able to, have, on your resume a quality GPA and things like that, you can control that to the best of your ability in terms of the effort, right? And so that's the first one. The second one is, when you think about a typical college student's day, they're really only in class a minimal amount compared to the full day, right? So what are you doing? And of course, there's a lot of other activities and things. You need to sleep, have fun. All those are true. But what is the outside the classroom learning you're doing for yourself? When you just think about now, people are literally teaching themselves how to code by watching YouTube, right? So how are you taking advantage of resources outside of the classroom to just learn direct or indirect skills that just add to your toolkit? I think that's really important. And then the third piece is, everyone's saying, all right, how do I get the best internship or make the right connection? But when you think about the sports space, getting internships for pro teams and big brands is difficult. It's super competitive. But they pull from students all over the world, so it's not diminishing the opportunity to do that. But I always say that flank that with what's right around you. So every single school, for the most part, has an athletic department. And those athletic departments are like they are businesses within the university. Athletic department has to deal with strategy, marketing, operations. They all have, multimedia engines, now. And so every place, but especially colleges and university, love cheap or free labor.
Yeah.
So there's just so many kind of resources right in your own backyard of being able to have hands-on experience with these different spaces. So I always encourage students, to look at your own athletic department, for opportunities there. And then, it is a grind. What are other spaces and internships? Like, you do need to be, kind of hitting the path hard on what are applying to a lot of different internships in it. And ultimately, I think everybody, if you have kind of an industry you're interested in and then a function you're interested in, so for me, marketing and sports, everybody wants those two to come together right away, which I get it. That is the ideal. But the reality of it is that just take sports. Sports is no different than insurance, oil and gas, whatever, comprehensive competitive industry. They want the best of the best. So they're looking at, okay, it's not just, if I'm looking for a marketing person, it's not just, I'm just looking at marketing people that come from sports. They're just looking for the best marketing people.
Yeah.
So because of that, I encourage a lot of people always, like, if there's an opportunity where it may not be the exact space that you want to be in, but it is allowing you to grow and learn a skill set, that will often prove more beneficial than just trying to keep pursuing until you get this magic convergence of that space. Obviously, you have your whole career to right size exactly where you want to be, but the ability to, especially early on, it's just about adding to your toolkit and getting exposure. So, don't, close off or say no to opportunities that may not on surface level seem exactly aligned to what you want to do, but you'd be surprised how transferable skills are and how that can benefit you kind of down the line.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Well, so diving into the Falcons specifically, I saw your most recent Instagram post. It was your personal Instagram, but you were talking about how, leading up to the beginning of the Falcons season, things starting right now, everything that you guys were doing. So can you tell us, like, what was going into your marketing plan? How hands-on are you with even, maybe the minutia of what's happening? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think just first good context, right? Season kickoff is always one of the biggest moments of the year for any team in any league at any level because, everyone's 0-0. Fans, our anticipation is high and, there's hope and there's belief. And so there's already a good kind of built-in platform. So the opportunity on the marketing side or the experiential side, content storytelling, is how do you kind of maximize that enthusiasm? And that's what we kind of set out to do. So that's just kind of every year. So every year we put a lot of effort into a moment like season kickoff. But contextually for us specifically, there's definitely a heightened expectation for our team this year. For all people that kind of know about the Falcons story, the last few years it's been tough. We haven't performed at the level that we've wanted to. So that's just a reality. But the other side of it, which isn't an excuse, but it's just a part of the story, is we have had a prohibitive salary cap the last few years, which has prevented us from being able to acquire talent at the level that we know we need to be ultra competitive, at the highest level in the league. And we kind of cleared those books heading into this past off season. And so we were able to have a very active free agency, a very active re-signing of our key players, a very active draft. And so the talent level on the team from an objective level is the highest it's been collectively than it's been in the last few years. That's just the truth. Yeah. And so because of that, our fans are smart and they understand that too. So, they understand that the expectation should be higher this year. So when you add the standard kind of excitement, enthusiasm for season kickoff every year, plus that increased expectation and anticipation this year, we knew that we had a platform for season kickoff this year to provide content and access and opportunity that our fans would eat up at a really high level. And so with that, the first thing for us is that when you think about season kickoff, most people immediately go to the week leading up to, the first game of the season. But for us internally, when we say season kickoff, that's really from the start of training camp, which is the end of August, all the way through the first, game. And even for us this year, because we have 2 straight home games to start the season, we're even coupling both of those to be treated as season kickoff. So because of that, it's really for us more of a 5 to 6 week campaign, if you will, versus just 1 week. So what are elements of that can do both sustain as well as ramp up, culminating in the actual kind of season kickoff game? So a couple of things for us is, training camp. The NFL started this really cool initiative kind of coming out of COVID and, fans coming back together of the first Saturday of training camp across the league, calling it Back Together Saturday, and really encouraging teams. Our training camp is at our facility in Flowery Branch, Georgia, which is about 40 miles northeast of the city center. And so we did a big kind of Back Together Saturday activation, really encouraging fans to be out there. Had a lot of different fan kind of games, fan-friendly stuff, concessions, retail, former players, mascots, cheerleaders, the whole works. Our head coach and our general manager addressed the crowd there. And we had the most fans at that event that we had at training camp practices in years.
Wow.
So that was just a really cool, immediate kind of validation point that there's something clearly in the market that is a heightened expectation. So then kind of moving forward for us, then the next kind of 5 to 6 weeks or so, when we really think about, kind of storytelling and connecting with our audiences, there's really kind of 3 lenses that we think about it. So you have the game day experience, everything that happens inside and around the stadium on game day, which is the culmination. But then you have everything we do from a digital and social platform. So all of our social platforms, our website, our app is that piece. And then third is in market. So kind of boots on the ground, experiential, direct, palpable, touching our brand. So those are the 3 kind of, kind of stools, in terms of how we think about fan engagement for a campaign. And then you have this kind of supporting lens, but it is just as key as the others. And that really is your kind of PR and your media, where it's not directly Falcons, but working with partners, TV, print,
earned
digital,
media, that kind of stuff.
All those things that help tell the story too. So it's really kind of those 4 together. And so if you look at our channels, we did a really good job of, the season ends early January last year. Our players come back, kind of middle of summer. So we shot a whole bunch of content with our players inside our building. We went throughout the country to where they were. Troy Anderson, our starting linebacker, he is from Montana and has a really incredible story. We actually went to Dillon, Montana, where he was in the offseason, and shot content to tell the story of who he was and where he came from. I don't know if you saw, in January, we launched a new kind of state-of-the-art digital content studio connected to our facility, which, really feels like ESPN in our own backyard. So the ability to use that to produce more stories. And so over the course of those 5 to 6 weeks, we had already stockpiled a whole bunch of, kind of feature storytelling, as well as the new storytelling coming out of training camp. So we just had so many stories and videos and content, editorial, written pieces that, unmasked our players, that told the story of the team. And so that was such a cool way to connect with our fans, from a digital and social side. Also happening during that time on the media side is our PR team working with both local media as well as national media. So you were seeing our players and our coach and our general manager on, local newscasts, and then, national, NFL Network and those like that stories too. So another way to connect our fans to our team. And then this past week really hit the overdrive of the kind of in-market experiential piece. And we did everything from a fun kind of day-long block party field day activation on the Beltline to the Friday night before our first game, having a massive pep rally at Atlantic Station where we had thousands of fans in attendance and had our players and our coach and our general manager, T.I., performed out there. So just these moments where literally directly together, boots on the ground was really cool too. But then we also find ways, like we want to be a brand that, has, when you think about the pyramid of consumers or fans of us, you have, these diehards, season ticket members, eat everything we have up, love football. But we know that flanking that is almost concentric circles of more casual fans and knowing us wanting to be, in addition to a football brand, a lifestyle brand, what are other ways to engage the broader audiences? And so that's why we did stuff like we launched a really cool lifestyle retail line that really kind of showcased Falcons, but also if you look at it and you're a fan of the city of Atlanta, you'd be kind of cool to wear that too. Because we know, again, everyone is not going to be that central diehard, but we still want to find ways to engage with our fans too. We know Atlanta and lifestyle and fashion is really important to me here too. So all that kind of culminated into, the game day experience, and just going to be more proud of the team and how that game went. And, our job is obviously to put on the game, but it is to have fun and make the fans feel like it is kind of a Falcons party. And, from, I don't know if you saw, but our mascot, Freddie Falcon, basically like bungee jumping from the roof that went viral, which is crazy, to Jeezy performing on the field during a commercial break and all these other things in between. Really felt this cool convergence of our team was playing well on the field. We ended up winning the game, but all these other elements kind of supporting fan engagement. And so just to have the victory, be 1-0, and then just to see the outcome of those weeks of execution, but before that, months of planning to get to that point was just super satisfying. Excited to see where we go the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well, and you kind of alluded to something else that I wanted to ask, which was, how much of the culture of Atlanta itself do you see as also being a part of the Falcons organization? And I think I kind of have an idea where you're going to go with this, but just for those who may not know.
Well, it's huge. I mean, we say all the time, like, we're not Falcons, we're Atlanta Falcons. And, and so because of that, there's a connectivity, obviously, with the community. Community give back is a huge part of who we are. Arthur Blank, our owner, has these core values that resonate through our organization, and the notion of giving back to community is a huge aspect. Another huge aspect is reflecting the community. So interests and themes and trends that, and it's really not just Atlanta, right? Yeah. I mean, it's Atlanta. You even hear the jokes of ITP, OTP, the suburbs, or the city center. But our games are available to people all throughout the state. Yeah. So, it's important for us to, Atlanta's, maybe at that core, but connectivity to the entire state is really important. We have a Friday program that we do with our mascot where we have these elementary school pep rallies every single Friday. And the last Friday for kickoff, we weren't in Atlanta for the school shows. We were in Macon. I know. I figured you're going to have that. Yeah, I figured you're going to have that reaction. So,
which school did you go to?
I don't have the schools off top. I'll get that. But it's important. I mean, so it's important for the entire state to feel included in different ways. So yes, to answer your question, the connectivity to the broader community, and that can be defined in a lot of different ways, is really important to us.
If you get down to Macon again, you better let me know.
I wasn't there, but But the team, we had a really cool team and presence there. So
that's awesome. I'm sure the kids loved it. That's fantastic. So, getting down to kind of some nitty gritty, how hands-on are you, like, with the storytelling aspect, with the social media? Like, are you in the down deep in it, or do you kind of have a hands-off approach?
Sort of. So I joke all the time that, like, I'm not the person that, sends a tweet or designs a graphic or, is hands-on producing the event at a festival or anything like that. My kind of role is really defined by two things. So the first is the strategy side. What's the big vision? What are we trying to accomplish? What are the consumer insights that are fueling the decisions? Why we're doing it? What budget and resources do we need to accomplish it? Making sure that the broader team is aligned to what we're trying to achieve. Like, that's a huge element of my role. And then the second piece is really kind of then the project management of those initiatives, the coordination between different departments, making sure the communication, making sure, where things need to be, troubleshooting, being able to step in and help there. So it's the strategy and project management are the two kind of key elements of that. But, we're all in it together. So, we very much inverted pyramid in terms of kind of servant leadership. So there is no kind of levels. Someone's too big or too small for a role. Like, we're all in it together. So you'll see me at an event carrying boxes. Like, that's just kind of how we are. But we have a very talented team of smart, creative people that have different disciplines. Like, we have a great creative design team. We have a great social media team. We have a great video production team. We have a great grassroots marketing team, and so on and so on. And we all kind of work together to then take this plan and bring it to life, knowing that everything kind of clicks up to a broader goal. Yeah. But how it comes to life is going to be nuanced and needs to be manifested in different ways to reach that specific audience in a way that's going to resonate with them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So how many people are on your team?
It's a lot. I mean, when you think about our integrated marketing team, so just to give you an idea of what that means when we say integrated marketing, you have, kind of brand strategy side, for which I live a lot in. We have a digital content team, which includes video, editorial, social, website. We have a creative design team. We have a game presentation team. That's a team that if you go to the game itself, everything from who's singing the national anthem to, what you see on the video boards.
Wow.
We have a game presentation and live events team that puts on the game day show. We have a fan experience team that really is deep on the analytics of, from the time you leave your house to when you get back to your house after a game, that full journey of parking and concessions and security. We have a team that leans in, on that. We have a community relations team that really is about, working with the community directly for give back opportunities. We have a PR team that deals with, in the media. We have teams that work that basically are the conduit between our team and our revenue groups from sponsorship, and ticketing, retail team. So on and on. So it's a pretty large.
That's a lot.
Team. It's a lot, and a lot of credit to leadership over the years, because how we are now, both philosophy and structure, is not how we always were. I think what we realized as an organization, when you look at 2016, so last year at the Dome, before we moved over to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the organization was the Falcons football team, the Arthur and Blank Family Foundation, and then the early seeds of Atlanta United, but they don't play their first game until 2017. Fast forward just, a couple of years, you have the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta United, the Foundation, We own our own stadium, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We have PGA Tour Superstore. And then Arthur Blank has multiple ranches in Montana. So very quickly, we became this kind of much larger in scope and structure portfolio company. And so with that came the understanding that we now have to operate the way that, kind of a multi-portfolio company operates the same way they would in other industries. And I think with that, came a lot of, kind of resource investment and reframing philosophically, of our approaches. And so when you look at the integrated marketing team, that is a byproduct of the progression of us as an organization to be like any top tier, corporation or brand kind of throughout the country. And we're really excited because we believe we have the right kind of strategy, structure, and kind of philosophy and culture to achieve anything we want to.
Yeah. I love that you also mentioned even that, the parking is a part of this, that's a part of the fan experience. It's one of those things that you say it and it makes so much sense, but it wouldn't necessarily be top of mind because, of course, if you have a bad experience in the parking lot, it can just go downhill from there.
You can have the best marketing campaign with the coolest commercials and the best da-da-da-da-da. If someone's coming to a game and is stuck in traffic and can't find their parking or their parking is so expensive, like all those things, like that is your brand.
Yeah.
Right? That is your brand. And, a great kind of example of that is as much as our brand is, what you see on our social media platforms and what you see during the game, as much of that is our brand, the same thing is that, or if not more, is our fan-friendly pricing at the stadium, right? Is that you can come into our stadium and get a hot dog and drinks for your whole family at a price level that is demonstratively less than a lot of other professional sports stadiums. And so for us, we don't kind of only focus on, the cool stuff or the things that you think. The entire consumer journey is a part of our brand, and we all work together to make sure that is the maximum best it can be at each stage.
Yeah. I think that's fantastic. And it's such a good point because I think sometimes, especially when for somebody like me who's teaching mass communications, it can be very easy to get caught up in teaching the social media aspect or the PR aspect and forgetting that the entire customer experience is your PR. So that's fantastic. Well, I want to make sure I get some students' questions in. There's really two big ones. One, I don't know if you can answer this one because it's not. I don't know if it's really about marketing. It's more about the draft. But they want to know: can you get more SEC players?
So it's funny, and our general manager he gets this question a lot, and he laughs because. There's definitely no bias one way or the other. The responsibility of our, scouting staff, personnel, and coaching staff is to get the best players that we can, culturally right fits that are going to help us win football games.
Yeah.
It's really not complicated. So that player can come from the SEC or that player can come from the Big Ten. Like there's just, it just doesn't matter. And we kind of laughed at, and we love it. And we also acknowledge the SEC is great. It produces a lot of, talented football players. And when you look at our roster, we have, several players from the SEC. But what's funny is you always hear this, and you got Georgia fans that only want us to draft Georgia players, Alabama fans only want us to draft Alabama players. But if you get into the season and that Alabama player on the Falcons is doing well, that Georgia fan who's also a Falcons fan is happy, and vice versa. So, it's a results, business. And so our personnel staff and coaching staff is always going to stay true to the number one objective, winning games and winning games the right way. And whoever can help us do that, we're going to be a fan of them too.
Yeah. And then the second question they had was they want to know, I'm trying to phrase this right. what they're really getting at is they want to know about how can they get an internship with the organization. But the way they phrased it was, so how do you need any interns? What kind of interns do you need?
Yeah, so a few. So we, starting last year, launched a really cool program. And I don't believe off top if we're at your school, but I know, just thinking regionally, I believe we're at Georgia Southern. We might be at Mercer, but we launched last year a really cool program called College Pass. And that program is, understanding that, NFL tickets aren't the cheapest tickets, and it can be harder for certain groups, especially younger groups, to find their way inside the stadium. So we launched a program that is exclusively for college and university students. It's a sign up, and I can send you the link to send to the group. But basically, you have to have an @edu email address, and what it does is we often will have last minute tickets available at a discounted rate just for college students.
Nice.
So you might get a text on a Friday that tickets are available for purchase to go to the game on Sunday. So that's the product side of it, but we have a internship program that's called a College Pass Ambassador Program, which is student internships from students at different colleges and universities around Metro Atlanta, with the responsibility to help us kind of promote, this product and experience. So, that has gotten going, for this season. Like I said, I can confirm if we do currently or don't at your particular school, but, always looking to add schools. So I think that's an opportunity. We also have a grassroots streets team that does activations for our brand throughout the community at festivals and community events and concerts. So that is an internship that really starts in that kind of late spring time frame and goes through early fall.
Nice.
So we're kind of heavy in that. So both of those programs have an application process in that, kind of late winter, early to mid-spring time frame. So, definitely in terms of next cycle around, there's that, but can for sure connect you, Molly, with the head of, who's on my team, who's the head of those programs.
Okay, that'd be great.
And she can give you all the information about, that kind of moving forward.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're going to be so excited.
And that is, just from a marketing side.
Yeah.
Obviously, other groups, if you go to our website, there's other groups that have opportunities. Our ticketing team, far and away, has the most, post-grad, part-time, as well as full-time ticketing entry-level roles, which is such a great way to get into the organization. So, they start that. Kind of recruitment and interview process, really, kind of in that winter time frame. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved in the organization, from internships to entry level, for sure.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate that. The students are going to be thrilled. I know, everybody in the department will be really happy to hear all this, and I'm sure we'll connect some more.
Love it. Well, I appreciate being able to speak, with you and your students. I know you guys come from a lot of different places. Yeah. I have a warm spot for the Journal area. My father is from Fort Valley, Georgia, originally. So, a lot of love for the Journal area around where you are.
I've got some friends who are Fort Valley grads, so they will love that. Special thanks to our guest today, as well as all the sponsors for my content production: Advanced Dental Arts, Katie Berg at Mayo Hill Law, El Sombrero Restaurant on Forsyth Road in Macon, Georgia, and Triple Dot Social. You can find links to all of their websites in the show notes. Be sure to give them a visit as a thank you for their support. Show music is Drop the Tapes by Track Tribe from the YouTube Content Creator Studio. Again, my name is Molly Wilkins, and I am a lecturer in the Department of Communication at Georgia College and State University in beautiful Milledgeville, Georgia. To learn more about me, check out all my social pages with the handle Love Molly Kate, or go to HelloMollyWilkins.com. Be sure to continue to follow along with us with this inaugural season of We Love the Hype.